Hey everyone, my name is Mack Sawatsky, and I'm one of the CFA instructors here at meldrum.com. I just want to make a quick video for you today, just outlining the 5 things I wish I knew before starting my level 1 journey. So the 5 things I have here, they relate to planning and a study strategy, aiming not just to pass the exam. We're going to talk about mocks, the calculator, and we'll finish with personal accountability. And starting off with the first thing I wish I knew before beginning my level 1, it relates to planning and a study strategy. So the biggest thing I wish I had known is that time is what you're really planning for. Of course, the content, resources, and schedule matter, but if you don't give yourself enough time to get through all the material, regardless of your strategy, it's just not going to work out. So when I started, I think I spent too much time trying to build the perfect schedule instead of just focusing on carving out enough time. Because once life and work get in the way, your schedule or your perfect schedule that you're crafted is going to crumble. So if you don't have the buffer or the margin of time added to your study plan, you won't be able to catch up. So if I could go back, I would have just budgeted more time from the start. So the CFA Institute says that 250 to 300 hours, or 300 hours is what the average candidate spends studying for each level. But if you just add a little buffer on top of that, I think that's just the best thing you could do. Because the worst case scenario is you get through all the material with plenty of time to spare, and then you just have extra time to review. Or if life happens, things come up, and you have to veer away from your schedule, you'll have this extra time to act as a buffer to just push your studying off to. And that way you'll still be able to get through all the material, and it'll be less stressful as you approach the exam. And I think the less stress you can put on yourself before writing the exam, the better. And then also for the study strategy, there are like the materials presented to you in such a way in the curriculum. So all the sections, it starts with quant. I believe the next one's econ. You can go through the material that way, but I think it might be beneficial to go through sections that just kind of build off each other. So you could do quants, fixed income, and then derivatives, or just some of the harder sections up at the beginning, just to give yourself more time to digest it, and then you can come back to review it multiple times. But with that said, again, it doesn't really matter what order you study material. It just matters that you get through all the material. So the main thing you need to account for is just leaving yourself enough time to get through all the material. And the second thing I wish I knew before level 1 was not aiming just to pass the exam. So going into the exam, I knew it was a pass or fail exam with a minimum passing score. When I wrote level 1, historically the minimum passing score was around a 65. So I thought if I scored a 70% on the exam, that would be perfect. I wouldn't have wasted any time studying for a perfect score or a high 90, because that wouldn't be rewarded given it's a pass or fail exam, right? So I figured the closer I could get to the minimum passing score without falling under it, the more effective I'd be, and the better I'd be with my time. Obviously, that is a losing approach, because what happened was I got exactly the score I planned to get. I got just about a 70, but for my exam seating, the minimum passing score was just over a 70. So I ended up failing by the slimmest of margins. So you don't want to do that to yourself. Don't aim just to pass or clear the minimum passing score. And there's also another fault with that, and it is that all the material builds. So what you learn in level 1 is foundational for level 2 and level 3. So if you just scrape by level 1, it is a multiple choice exam, right? So you don't have to explain your understanding in the questions. You could essentially answer them by the process of elimination or getting lucky on a few questions that you didn't know, because it is multiple choice. But if you're just to scrape by your level 1, When you get to level 2, it's going to be that much harder just because the material is foundational. It's going to build on the level 1 material. But even worse, when you get to level 3, if you don't have that solid understanding of the level 1 and level 2 material, level 3 will really expose you, just because now you need to start explaining everything, and it's all written responses. So if you don't have that solid foundation of understanding, level 3 is going to be very difficult. So that's why I say don't aim just to pass, aim to fully understand all the level 1 material. And then if you can do that, not only will you clear the exam with ease, but level 2 and level 3 will just be that much easier just because you have such a solid foundation to work off of. And the third thing I wish I knew relates back to the mock exams. I wish I knew how much candidates overemphasize mock scores. People online treat them like the ultimate pass-fail predictor. They are important, but they're more like stepping on a scale at a gym. They're going to tell you where you stand, but they're not going to make you stronger. Doing mock after mock without fixing weaknesses is just weighing yourself over and over without going back to the gym. So the real value from the mock exam is as a diagnostic. They show you your gaps. The actual progress comes afterwards, drilling back into those weak areas, and then coming back to test them again. So yes, mocks are crucial, but they measure progress. They're not going to create it for you. And the next thing I wish I knew is that the calculator is your only companion. And what I mean by that is the calculator is the only tool you're allowed to bring into the exam with you. So I wish I realized how much time the calculator can save you if you truly know how to use it. So the core functions like the time value of money, NPV, IRR keys, those are a must. You need to know how to use those. What I really wish I knew earlier is how important the store and recall functions are. So it just lets you save the intermediate results, avoiding retyping, and they also eliminate rounding errors. So that alone saves minutes and boosts your accuracy as well on your calculations. So just use your calculator every time you practice, build the muscle memory, and you might also want to bring 2 calculators into the exam. The batteries don't last forever, and it's a small chance, but you could have the case where your battery does die in the exam, and that would be terrible. So yeah, bring 2 calculators. It's always a good idea. And the last thing I wish I would have known relates to personal accountability and discipline. So I wish I fully understood how much of this journey is on you. There's no professor, there's no boss. It's just you by yourself studying. And that can be very difficult. A lot of time when you have a mountain of content to cover and you're alone by yourself, it's easy to get distracted, but it's also very easy to get into your own head, especially when you're getting closer to the exam and you might not feel like you know as much as you should. It just takes a lot of personal accountability and discipline to stay regular with your studying. So it is a huge commitment, but I think identifying that upfront and telling yourself that before you even start preparing for this exam, it's going to be a big challenge in terms of how much personal accountability it's going to take. I think that really helps to alleviate some of the stress along the way. And it also goes back to planning as well. As long as you've left yourself an adequate time to go through all the material, then you should allow yourself, or you should have some leeway to miss the occasional study session, because you have that buffer time. So that goes back to our first point. But I think just identifying how much of the journey is going to be on you is really important. That way, when you're in the middle of it, you're not questioning yourself too much, and you'll be able to push through and make that final push towards the exam. But these were just a few of the things I wish I knew before I started my level 1 journey. I hope you found this helpful, and yeah, good luck with your studies. Thanks.